Okay, so we're going to look at lung volumes. We're going to start with tidal volume. Okay, so lung volumes is the air that comes into the lungs. So we'll start with tidal volume. What is it? Okay, so tidal volume means that air goes into the lungs the same way it comes out. And you'll see that on this diagram in a minute here. So under normal conditions, roughly you get around 500 centimetres cubed of air, both inhaled and exhaled. So in and out. Of this air that comes in, there's approximately 350 centimetres cubed of the air that comes in that reaches the alveoli in the lungs, and the remainder of 150 centimetres cubed fills the pharynx and larynx, trachea and bronchioles. Now that's often referred to as the dead or stationary air. Now the 350 centimetres cubed of air that comes in inhalation and makes the alveoli mixes with the 150 centimetres cubed of dead air in the pharynx, larynx, bronchioles, which was left from the previous exhalation. Okay, so it mixes with what's left. So that effectively you do get 500 centimetres cubed eventually reaching the alveoli in one single breath. Okay. Now this diagram, what it will illustrate, if I put breathing normally, you can see that tidal volume is the breath in and out, and this is kind of where it is. All right. And if you're breathing normally, then you can see that actually we're not using the other volumes. We're pretty much using just tidal volume. Okay. So the where we start to see a difference is when we're breathing deeply. Okay, so if we're breathing deeply, we can see that actually tidal volume is only here. Okay, and that actually the exception is that the two sharp rises, which you'll see up here, so the rises will go into your inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, and it will also go into your expiratory reserve volume. Okay, so that is tidal volume. You also need to know what residual volume is, and residual volume is down here. So residual volume is the amount of air that's left in the lungs after a maximal respiration. So what that means is the amount of air left in your lungs after you've forced out the most amount of air. Okay, so when you breathe out as hard as you can, the volume is around 1,200 centimetres cubed on an average male. And what that means is that the air is still left in the lungs so that the lungs don't collapse. So residual volume is really important, that the air remains in there and that it doesn't completely empty so that the lungs don't collapse. The other thing that we need to know about is vital capacity. Okay, so vital capacity is not documented on here, but vital capacity is the maximum amount of air that can be forced out of the lungs. Okay, so I know you've done your peak flow meter where you take one large breath in and then you force a maximum amount of air out. That is what we call our vital capacity. Now roughly it's around 4,800 centimetres cubed when we breathe out our maximum amount of air. So what you'll need to do is make sure you draw this diagram or this graph to indicate the lung volumes.